Hello, and welcome to another lesson of the Focus on DatoCMS course. I am Marcelo, the Headless Creator. As always, right there, get a hold of me, Marcelo at headlesscreator.com. Send me an email with questions, comments, ideas for the course. I'll take them into account, and if I have the time and the schedule, we'll put them in there and we'll get them going. Today, I'm going to talk to you about blocks, nested blocks, what they are, how do you use them in DatoCMS, and why do you want to use them in DatoCMS? So let's get started. Let's go ahead and show my screen here. So we're going to go ahead and close this up. All right. So first of all, what I want to talk to you about is what are blocks? Blocks are structures. They're different than content types. And what that means is you can have these repeatable structures that you can embed inside of records, inside of content types as records. So there is no content held inside of a block. The content is held in the block inside of a content type. And you'll see, I know that may sound a little bit confusing, but I'm gonna show you all of this in just a second. You can't query, you know how you can query content types, you can go using GraphQL or whatever and get content out of it. There is no way to query a structure. A structure will appear inside of a content type when you query the actual content type. And good use of blocks are going to be components like photo galleries, addresses, which is an example that I have, and I'll show you. So let's go ahead and jump in, and we'll start with the first part here. And by the way, the mirror board will be accessible as bonus material after the lesson is done, but you do need an account at headlesscreator.com. So, all right, so let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to create two content types, not blocks, just content types. We're going to have a person and a company, and a person has first name, last name, company has a name, but they both have something similar: address, city, state, zip, country. Business phone, business email, personal email. And then same thing with a company: address, city, state, zip, country, but they have a main phone, a support phone, a main email, and a support email. So one thing that I'm going to do here to show you is how we have to repeat these fields in content types. We're repeating them, right? Also, I put a 2 on this one, and here I put a full. What does that mean? Is that here I did my validation as a 2-character state, or 2-character, state code, and then here I'm doing it as the full. So here it would be like CA versus here California. You want to standardize too, so you can see how implementing the same fields across multiple content types not only is a pain, but it's also, you need to keep track of validations and standardize on that, right? And then you can see here that we have a business phone and a personal phone, but what if they don't have a business phone? They only have a personal phone. Or what if they only have a business email and no personal email? Same with main phone and support phones. So I'm showing you all this for a particular reason. So let's start with that. I'm gonna go into here, already created, and I'll show you under settings, models. These are just duplicates here on purpose for each of the sections that I'm going to show you. But the first one is I created a content type, very basic, name, address, everything that I told you about. All the fields are in there. You can see under, let's see, state. If we do state here, validation, you can see that there is no validation. I didn't set a character limit. If we go to person and we go to state, validation, oh, here I put 2 characters. So now I kind of messed this up, right? You have one content type that has no validation, the other one has 2-character validation, and authors are now confused. So let's go in, create real quick. We're going to go into the content. We're going to go to person here. We're going to create a new person. I'm going to create myself here and put 111 East Street in some city, California. And see, I have here, I do have 2 characters, so I can't do more than that. And we'll do 22233, doesn't matter, USA. And I'm not going to have a business phone, personal phone, but I will have a business email. All right, and you know what? Let's put a business phone. In fact, in this one, we'll just have a personal phone. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now I'm going to go to company, and I'm going to create a company. Let's create a company called, of course, headlesscreator.com. Some city, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some city. Yeah, the other one's some street, actually. Okay. California, 222. That's not 222, but it's okay. USA. And then I'm going to put a phone as 777. Okay. And then we'll put the main email is. Okay, perfect. So notice, first of all, from an authoring perspective, the state here, I can put actually California. I can do whatever I want because I missed the validation. I'm showing this on purpose because when you start duplicating structures like this, like for address, in multiple content types, you're gonna somehow miss something, a detail, and it won't be standardized across the board. And that's why blocks are perfect for this kind of stuff. And I'll show you in just a minute. But now, so now that we've done that, we can go to the API Explorer, and we'll go to Explorer here, and we'll go to, let's see, CT01 company. We'll start there. We'll pull real quick the name of the company. We'll pull the address. Let's see, address, city, state, zip, country. We'll pull support email, support phone, main email, main phone. So we can run this now. Let's close that up. And you can see that it returns pretty much everything. But look, it's returning two fields that we really don't need because for this company, we don't have it. So as a developer, you're going to go through all these fields. And what happens tomorrow if now there is a third type of email or a third type of phone? What do you do at that point? You have to go to the content model and now add that new field. And on top of that, you will now have to, you'll have an extra field that from an authoring perspective that you're not going to need, right? So I'm not going to query the person content type because it's the same deal, same exact deal, right? You're going to have all that information there. So that is just content types. There are no blocks there. But when you go and you start modeling, you need to start looking at some of these repeatable structures, right? That's the key here, repeatable structures. And you can see that address, city, state, zip, country, that's an address. So that makes up a perfect scenario for a block. And then you have business phone, business email, personal email. Well, this is contact information, right? So another block. So let's look at how would we implement that. All right. Look at the difference. Look how simplified person and company becomes when we start implementing blocks. I like this much better, much cleaner. So what do we have? We have company that has a name, and we have person that has a first name and last name. That's it. The rest of it, what I've done, instead of separating it into address block, like a field called address with a block address and a field called contact with the contact block, I put details. And in details, I'm making it where you can select whatever you want. If they have an address, you can add an address. If they have a contact, you can add a contact. If they don't have it, then you don't add it. That's simple. So that way you only store the information you need in there. So what does the block look like? Well, the contact, remember, we may have personal email, we may have a business email, a support email, so on and so forth. So instead of creating those and then keep adding new fields for all those and having blank fields, what I did is I created a block called contact that has a contact type. Now blocks can reference content types. Okay, so I created a content type called contact type, and you're going to see that in just a minute. And in there, I'm going to create as many types as I need. So there's a one-to-one reference here for this block. And what am I going to be able to store? In a contact structure, I'm going to have a phone number and an email. That's it. And I'm going to assign it a type. Now for the address, same thing. I'm going to have a type because the user could have a personal, a home address, a business address, whatever else kind of address they may have. And then the address has, well, the address, the city, the state, the zip, the country. I'm going to show you later how you can actually expand this, because it becomes really easy to add fields to a block, and then wherever that block is being used, that field will appear. Okay, so what I did is I have two content types. The field for each of these content types is going to be a modular content that allows me to select address or contact. So let me show you how that was implemented. Let's go back to actually settings. We'll go to, sorry, where are you? Models right here. There we go. So we'll start with CTO2. This is part 2. We have a contact type, a company, and a person. Let's look at the contact type. The contact type is just a simple contact type, short text, single line string of type. That's it. And you can enter as many types as you want in there, and I'll show you how that's used. The company has a name, and then it has modular content. So let's go ahead and edit this. And under validations, you see that specify the allowed blocks for this field. I say address and contact. Those are the only blocks I'm allowing. And then for the person, we'll go there. First name, last name, and details. See how simple this model became compared to if we go to the person here, where you have so many fields to maintain, and a user has so many fields to fill out, an author, and they may not even need them, right? Because for a particular user, they may not even have an address or a phone number or an email. So this is definitely much cleaner. So if we go into here, again, it's a modular content with a validation saying, hey, only allow address and contact. So how does that look like from the authoring perspective? Let's go there. Let's finish this part here. We'll go ahead and close part 2. We'll go to our part 1. We'll go to part 2. Under contact type, I've created a variety of contacts. One called company support, person home, person business, company main. You could separate them in a different way, but I just made it simple like this. So let's go to a person and let's create that person. I'm going to go ahead and create a new record. So it'll be me. And I'm going to say that I have an address. The type of address, see, this is pulling from the content type, contact type. I'm confusing myself a little bit, but the content type, contact type is populating the address type. So structures can actually reference content types. But notice how under details, the structure for address just came in automatically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, this person has a business address, and it's 111 business address in business city. I'm enforcing, because I did validation, and wherever we use the structure, the validation will always be the same. I'm enforcing 2 characters for the state. There you go. And then we'll put this, and we'll say USA. Now, at this point, I can go ahead and save, and this user has first name, last name, and just a business address. That's it, nothing else. Or we can say, you know what? They also have contact information. So they have a, we'll say person business type contact, and the phone number, and then the email. Okay, perfect. So we'll save it. So the nice thing here is now this user only has a business address and a business phone, email, contact, right? Nothing else. So that means that now we haven't wasted data entry. We don't have blank fields. And tomorrow, for example, you have marketing that says, hey, we're going to be tracking a different kind of contact type. You can go into contact type, and let's just pretend we'll add one, and we'll say business 800 line. We'll just say that for now. So watch this. If we go back now into person, and this would work for company as well, but if we go back into person here, we'll wait for it to load. person. We'll go here. I can actually go here, and there's the business 800 line. So now I can add an 800 line business if I need it. If I don't need it, then we don't do that. That's simple. But now you saw how scalable that was, right? Because all of a sudden I just easily created a new type, and now I can create another entry. So if this person for whatever reason has another contact, and this one is, we'll say person home, we'll just say 222 just to make it different, and Marcelo at personalemail.com. Of course, that's not my real one. We'll go ahead and save it. So now I have a business address and 2 emails and phone numbers, personal and business. So let's go to the API Explorer and let's check that out. So let's close this. We'll do this. We'll close that up. All right, let's close this up, and we're going to go to CTO2 person right here. All right, let's start with the ID. We'll go first name, last name. Let's just pull that real quick. All right, there I am, right? So what's next? What did we have next here? We had contact. We added an address and 2 contacts. So you should see a structure. Let's see if we see it here. There we go. Details. That's the details field. Remember, we have a details field. Within details field, we have 2 structures that we're allowed to add to that field: an address record and contact. So we're going to say address record, and what do we want? We want the ID, we want the address, city, state, zip code, country, and we do want the type. Where are you? Type address type right here. Now remember, this is not a, you see how it's set up as a record here? This is actually a reference to the contact type, right? So it's opening it up. The field name is address type, but it's a reference to the contact type. And we're going to, under the contract type, we have ID if we want that, and then the contact type itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this address type here. I'm going to cut and paste it just over here, just so it's easier to see. Okay, so I'm going to run it. So there you go. We have first name Marcelo, last name Lewin, and there is the address type, business, and there is the business. We only have one, right? So it looks like we have a couple more going here. So let's do this now. Now let's get the contact record. So what do we have for the contact record? Well, first of all, we have the contact type. Let's get that. The contact type, I want to get that so I know what kind of record it is. And what's showing me here is 2 blank records for the details. Remember, we have three records for the details. One of them is address type. The other 2 are the contact type. So let's do that. We got that. We'll have, let's see, where are you? Contact. ID. Let's remove email for a second. Contact type. We have the contact type. Then we'll get phone number, email. Those 2. So that'll tell us what type it is, what the phone number and email is. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. Boom. There you go. Check this out. We have an address type of business, a contact type of business, and a contact type of person. Now, for this person, for me, I have 3 things. We can create another simple one that only has first name and last name, right? So why don't we do that real quick? And I'm not going to create it in company because company is the same thing. If I go to company and create a new record, you can, let's do that. Let's create a new record for company. We'll say headlesscreator.com. Let's say I don't have any information besides that. That's all I have. So now if we go to the API Explorer, and let's close this up, we'll go to company, we'll do ID, name. And let's do this. Let's do details. And I want to see, right, we'll ignore photo gallery record because that's for part 3. Well, we'll do that. We'll do that to see if there's anything, and it'll return the ID. So you're going to see that, let's see, did we save it? I want to make sure we saved it because it may not have saved. Company, part 2. Maybe, do I have the wrong one? Maybe I have the wrong one. Let's see. Let's go back. API Explorer. Explorer. Oh yeah, I took the wrong company. Sorry about that. That's for part 3. That's why it's blank. Let's take ID again, the name, details. That's why I was showing you the the other one, because that's for part 3. Okay, so now we have that. Let's get rid of email. We're just going to show an ID if there's anything. So now we run it, and you can see we have headless creator, and we have no details. I love this because now I can have dynamic data without having the author have to enter more content than they need to. So we've improved the authoring experience. And also we've improved the developer experience, because the developer, if there's no records and details, they don't have to worry about the fields. Are they null? None of that stuff. They don't need any of that stuff. So you can see how blocks really, really help you. Now, let's say tomorrow, marketing or a department in your company comes and say, hey, listen, for address, we want to start tracking geo code. Okay. If you go back to the old way right here without blocks, you would have to add a geo code field here, which you're going to add in this content type, but they may not use it, right? It may stay blank. Or we can go into settings, blocks library, and we'll go to address. And blocks are just like content types. You just add fields to it. You can see there's fields. You can see here the address type is a reference to the contact type. Very simple stuff, right? Nothing different than creating a content type. But I'm going to add a location field. We'll just call it location. We'll save that. So we added this. Now watch this. We're going to go to content. We're going to go to person. Let's do this. And there it is automatically for the location that we added. We just the structure automatically brings it in. So that means that if I go to company, for example, and we say add address, boom, there's the location. So it becomes using blocks becomes truly a scalable way of maintaining your content model. It makes it easy for your authors. It guarantees content governance across the board, because all you're doing is applying validations to one structure, and then all the content types that use that structure will then use that validation. So there's no negatives with blocks at all. Okay, so I've showed you how to do that. Let me make sure I've got everything here. The final part that I want to show you about blocks is that you can have nested blocks. That means that blocks can have references to other blocks. The nesting is 3 levels. That's about it. So keep that in mind. So I wouldn't go 3 levels deep anyway. That just seems a little bit out of control and your authors would get lost. But what I want to show you in this example is, let's say we have a company and person, and the details, remember, we are able to do let's see, that's number 2. Let's go to number 3. Well, to company, what we're going to do is we're going to allow an author to add address, contact, and maybe there's a photo gallery. So let's say there's some company information that you want to show, the culture of the company or the location. You can add a photo gallery. So photo galleries are perfect for creating blocks, because a photo gallery usually will be unique, not reusable. Sometimes it is, and if it is, then you have to create a content type, because that's where you store content and you can reuse it. But if it's not reusable, if every photo gallery will be unique and will never be reused, then you create a structure. So in this case, I'm creating a block, a structure that has two, right? We'll create the top level block called photo gallery. It has a title and description, but then it has the ability to create slides. That's another block. A slide has a title and a photo. Of course, you can extend this much more with more details, but the point here that I'm trying to show you is nested blocks. So this block will nest another block called photo gallery slide. So let's see how that looks like. So I'm going to go here under part 3, and you can see, let's discard these changes. We'll go here. Actually, let's go into settings real quick. I'll show you the blocks. You can see here photo gallery. which has a title and description. And then I just added a modular content under slides that only allows you to add a photo gallery slide. And I'm allowing as many as you want. You can also say accept only a specified amount. So I could say no more than 5 slides, for example. Let's say you wanted to limit that. Again, you're setting governance here, and then wherever you use this across all content types, then it'll be automatically respected. That's why I love blocks components. So let's discard this. And then in the model, what I did, if you remember, we had the details, but this time under validation, we have address, contact, and photo gallery. So let's go and go to content. We'll create a new company. We'll call it again, headlesscreator.com. We'll create, see, now we have the ability to add address, contact, or photo gallery. Again, we can have a company that has none of this, or in this case, this company has just a photo gallery, nothing else. So I'm going to say our location is awesome. Doesn't matter. Check out photos of our location. Now I'm going to create a new gallery slide, which is a structure of a slide, right? And it appears here. And you can see that I can add many. We'll add one. We'll call it our favorite food. And you'll see why, because I only have 2 pictures in here right now. And pizza is our favorite food. But now we're going to add one more. And we'll say more of our favorite foods. And I'm just going to say another pizza. Doesn't matter at this point. But you can see now that Headless Creator, the company, I added a photo gallery with 2 slides. That's it. So now I'm going to click on save. Of course, you can close these up and it's nice and organized. You know, I can then create, for example, let's create a contact. We'll do a simple contact. The type is business 800 line and it's 800 eat pizza. And then it's Marcelo at lovespizza.com. There we go. So let's go to the API Explorer and let's check out what does this look like. So let's close this up real quick. And we'll go into Explorer. Let's close this one. We'll go into company here, 3. All right, let's pull the ID. Let's pull the company name. Let's pull details. I'm going to pull address record. Well, actually, let's pull photo gallery first. And you can see that we have photo gallery record. We're going to pull ID and the title, and there should be a description, and we'll call it markdown as true. Why I want the markdown. But then you can see here under slides, we have the other structure. So we're going to pull the ID. We're going to pull the title. And then for photo, it's pulling all the metadata from the media, the media right here, right? So I'm just going to pull the URL. That's all I want. So right now I'm going to run this, and you can see there's the company. For details, I have a photo gallery. Our location is awesome. Here's the description, and here are all the slides. Favorite food, more of my favorite foods, 2 slides. Now I can display that. So the other thing I could pull, right? Because remember, where are you? Right here. Remember, we added a contact record. We'll pull ID, yep, ID and email, and let's pull the type, the contact type, which is right there. We'll say ID, contact type, and what I want to do is just so it's easier to read right there. Oh, no, not right there. Here, let's do this again. Contact type, ID, and contact type. And let's see if I can cut and paste this correctly. There we go. So now if we run it, there we go. There's two structures came in. One is the photo gallery, and the other one is a contact, which is an 800 line. And there's the 800 phone number with an email as well. So there you have it. Blocks, extremely powerful. The ability to nest blocks, really cool too, because you can create these sophisticated structures that allow you to create and be dynamic, or allows the author to create dynamically without putting too much information in front of an author, right? Remember all those fields we have for just the content types. You have too many fields that the author may not even need or want for a particular record. So it gives you flexibility, and it makes things simpler for the author. It makes things simpler for the developer. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you truly understand now what blocks are. Remember, they're repeatable structures. They don't hold content. You cannot query them. They only hold content in the context of where they're being used in a content type. So you can only query the content type that is using that structure. That's it, which I love. If you want to have single source of truth, let's say for addresses, let's say you wanted addresses where you reuse the addresses, then you're gonna have to basically create it as a content type and not as a block. Now, of course, you can create an address content type that uses a structure of an address block, and then that becomes your single source of truth. Anyway, I hope I didn't confuse you with the last part. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, get your free account at headlesscreator.com. You'll have access to this lesson on demand plus everything else that I offer there. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Until the next lesson, have a great one, everybody.